Welcome to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to start a new chapter about ecosystem from class 12. If you like this video and get some help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So let's start with our today's topic on the chapter ecosystem. So ecosystem पढ़ने से पहले you should know that what is ecosystem. So ecosystem, as we know, that it is going to be a self-sustaining or a functional unit of all the living world, that is nothing but the ecosystem. अभी ecology जो word होता है, this ecology had been derived by Ernest Haeckel, from where the word ecosystem has been derived. So ecosystem कहाँ से आया है? It has come from a Greek word which is meaning, that is home, and systema, that is system. So it is a complete home for all the living organisms that entirely constitutes about the ecosystem. So ecosystem जो हमारा घर है, सारे living beings का घर है, and the study that we do of ecosystems is nothing but ecology. So let us understand in all the details about this system, a beautiful home that comprises, that is ecosystem. So first of all, what is ecology? Ecology जो एक word है, it is the meaning of study of relationships. अब किसके relationship? Between the organisms. Organisms में हम humans भी आते हैं, and other animals also come under living organisms. So when living organisms are going to interact with their abiotic component, that is the physical environment, तब जाके इकोलॉजी बोला जाता है. सो वंस यू आर इंटरैक्टिंग विद द वाटर दैट यू यूज, द एयर यू ब्रीथ, ऑल द सराउंडिंग सॉइल ऑन विच यू लिव, ये सारी चीज़ें जो आप कर रहे हो उसकी जो स्टडी है, दैट इज़ नथिंग बट इकोलॉजी. Now there are some types of ecology, wherein ought ecology. अब ought जो word है, it is meaning one. So ought is nothing but one, that is one single. So whenever you are studying a single species or a single population or a single individual, एक इंसान भी हो सकता है, and that is interacting with the environment, that will be called as ought ecology. So ought word one के related है, so it can be anything, one species, one population, one single individual, और उसके interaction को study करना is ought ecology. Opposite of ought ecology is going to be sin ecology. तो sin जो meaning होता है, it is going to be comprised of everyone, जहाँ पे एक साथ घुल मिल के जब interaction हो रहा है, that is going to be, that is community. So जब बहुत सारे अलग अलग population एक साथ एक दूसरे के साथ या उनके environment के साथ जब interact करेंगे, that will be called as sin ecology. So here by a simple representation I have tried you to understand about ought ecology, जहाँ पे एक single individual in the center is going to interact with other surrounding environment, that is ought ecology. Whereas sin ecology में सब एक साथ एक दूसरे के साथ भी interact करेंगे, that is going to be the simple representation of sin ecology. Next definition that is important to understand is ecotype. अब ecotype जो होता है, it is going to where a person gets adapted or an individual gets adapted to the environment. अब adaptation कैसे हो सकता है? जैसे camel has been adapted into the desert surroundings. अब जब आप the person who is living at the coastal areas से इंडिया के southern states में रह रहा है, and because of some job opportunities or any other differences, he has been shifted from the southern India to the northern India, जहाँ पे conditions totally opposite है, वहाँ पे hilly areas है, whereas here it was totally on the sea level. So ये जो differences आ रहे हैं between the habitat or the nearby surroundings, wherein the person gets adapted or the animal get adapted, that is going to be the ecotype. So for example, you can have the example that is a person gets adapted to the hilly areas, क्योंकि hilly areas में जैसे altitude बढ़ेगा, oxygen levels will decrease, and that would be facing problem for breathing as well. So उसको compensate कैसे करेगा? It will increase the number of RBCs. सो अगर ऑक्सीजन लेवल्स कम हो रहे हैं when the altitude is increasing, when the height is increasing, what is going to happen? RBC count is going to increase in that person. और ये जो उसने adapt किया है to increase the amount of RBCs, that is called as polycythemia vera. What is it called as? It is called as polycythemia vera, and this is a very good example to understand about ecotype, wherein a person who has increased RBC count because he has to adapt to the less oxygen availability, that is nothing but an example for ecotype. So ecology, then you have understood about two types of ecology, that is ought and sin ecology, and a very important definition of ecotype which you can have for MCQs, and because of this now you are able to solve these as well. Now moving ahead to understand about the different kinds of ecosystem. So first kind of ecosystem very widely known is going to be a terrestrial ecosystem, wherein you know that different kinds of terrestrial ecosystem that comprises of forest, you can have grasslands, you can have deserts, ये सारे जो भी आएंगे they come under the terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ka opposite will be aquatic ecosystem, wherein you can have pond, you can have lake, rivers, which come under the freshwater ecosystem, whereas you can have the salty water ecosystem comprising of wetland, seas, oceans, or even a new term might be for you, that is going to be estuaries. So even these estuaries come under the aquatic ecosystem. अब एक ecosystem ऐसा भी होता है that is going to be the place wherein the fresh water meets the salty water. So जो बीच का part होगा wherein the two mix, even there you can find different kinds of organisms making a different ecosystem. So the next we see is natural ecosystem. Natural ecosystem develop tab hoga, it is going to develop in nature because name that is natural. So there is going to be no human interference, नो ह्यूमन इंटरफेरेंस है, देयर इज़ नो सपोर्ट ऑफ ह्यूमंस, वहाँ पे ह्यूमन जाके कुछ भी नहीं करने वाला है. इट इज़ ऑल गोइंग टू बी ऑकरिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द नेचुरल इंस्टिंक्ट्स ऑफ द नेचर, और वो अपने हिसाब से डेवलप होगा. देयर इज़ नो इंटरफेरेंस एंड सच कैन बी द एग्जाम्पल्स कमिंग फ्रॉम फॉरेस्ट, जहाँ पे कोई उगाने नहीं गया था ये सारे पेड़, वो खुद से उगे हुए हैं. देयर कैन बी मरीन इकोसिस्टम, जहाँ पे फिशेस को या कोरल्स को ह्यूमन ने जाके इंटरफियर नहीं किया था, they have been growing all on their own. So that is the example of natural ecosystem. Other than natural ecosystem, the opposite of it is going to be where the human is interfering and human is creating and maintaining that place. That is going to be anthropogenic ecosystem. So in this you can be saying कि यहाँ पे जो creation है या वहाँ पे जो maintenance है, all that has been done by a human being. So human being can take the credit of this ecosystem but not for the natural ecosystem. So such can be the examples coming from cropland, or it can be from a garden, a aquarium. And the very important thing to know that there is going to be agriculture, which is the largest type of this ecosystem. So agriculture is going to be the largest man-made ecosystem because agriculture man ने introduce किया है. Before that it was not existing. जो सारे crops जहाँ पे the इच्छा के अनुसार उगाना under agriculture, the fodder crops, all that is going to be the man-made ecosystem that comes under the anthropogenic ecosystem. So this can be a very important question, that which is the largest man-made ecosystem. It is going to be agriculture. The next thing we need to see about the anthropogenic ecosystem is going to be its characteristics. So since it is developed and maintained by man, so what is the changes that occurs different from the natural ecosystem? First of all, there is going to be no self-regulatory mechanism, क्योंकि man ने बनाया है, nature had not been involved into it, and because the man is interfering each and every time, वहाँ की जो conditions है वो वो खुद से अपनी देखभाल नहीं कर सकता है. As you can understand it from that animals, they once the young child are born, giraffe का young one grow हुआ, dog के puppies आए, they are not taught how to run, they are not taught how to walk, they don't teach how to eat. But if in the case of humans, everything needs to be taught. That is the same thing you can remember from here. That is, anthropogenic system does not have self-regulatory mechanism. They have to depend on some other things. They have to be in, जैसे अभी फिश टैंक है या एक्वेरियम है, उसको आपको क्लीन करना पड़ता है. इट इज़ नॉट सेल्फ क्लीन. वेर एज यू हैव एवर सीन दैट अ पॉन्ड हैज़ बीन क्लीन्ड बाय ह्यूमंस. नहीं, जो पॉन्ड है दैट इज नेचुरल इकोसिस्टम, देयर इन एवरीथिंग इज गेटिंग डिकम्पोज बाय इट्स ओन. बट इन एक्वेरियम और इन गार्डन आपको डिकम्पोजिशन के लिए शायद अलग अरेंजमेंट करनी पड़ सकती है. So that is the difference that occurs between a natural ecosystem wherein human does not interfere, whereas in anthropogenic it has been created and maintained by man. And because it is created and maintained by man, man हर चीज़ नहीं कर सकता है, and because of that there is going to be little diversity. And little diversity, that means there is going to be a simple food chain, because वहाँ पे food availability के options नहीं होंगे. Whatever is available you have to compromise with it. So that is going to be leading to a simple food chain. And even there is going to be high productivity. For example, in agriculture lands, अगर आपने fertilizers या different kinds of pesticides वगैरह use किया है, उसकी वजह से productivity बढ़ जाएगी, and that is going to be because of man has been interfering. Natural ecosystem में वैसे नहीं होगा, but in the case of man-made you can have this opportunity of having high productivity. Fifth is going to be little cycling of nutrients, because again you are not going to have regulatory mechanism. Decomposition के लिए बहुत कम scope होगा, and because of that, of excessive productivity, excessive use of this ecosystem, there is going to be little chance for the cycling time of the nutrients. So these were some of the important characteristics that you need to know about the man-made ecosystem. The next we see what are the components of ecosystem. So the first is going to be about the abiotic components, जहाँ पे you have about sunlight, you have temperature, water and wind coming under the climatic adaptation. Then you have about edaphic, wherein the soil is concerned, जहाँ पे different kinds of soil comes, कि वो sandy है, loamy है या clay है, all that is going to be under this abiotic component. And the topographic is going to include the slope and the altitude. So वो sea level से कितने ऊंचाई पर है, so is it on a flat land or on a slopy land, all that thing is going to come under the abiotic components. The biotic component is going to be the second one, wherein you are going to speak about the living organisms, and these living organisms are going to be subdivided into three categories, that is producers, consumers and decomposers. So producers are going to be on the top level, because अगर ये produce नहीं करेंगे, वो खाना नहीं बनाएंगे, then the other rest of the two three kinds are not going to be helped. So first we see about the producers, and then rest of it will simultaneously go forward. So producers are going to come from the green photosynthetic plants. So not necessarily always these need to be green, but they need to be photosynthetic. So these are going to trap the solar energy. सोलार एनर्जी लाइट एनर्जी है, लाइट एनर्जी को ऑर्गेनिक एनर्जी में कन्वर्ट करना है, केमिकल एनर्जी में कन्वर्ट करना है. So this process of light energy converted into the chemical energy that can be used in the form of carbohydrates or kind of food that is provided by the producers, this process is going to be called as photosynthesis. So this photosynthesis is a gift by nature which is going to help in this conversion of energy, and such organisms who are capable of this conversion to form the organic energy, organic products from inorganic raw materials, उन्हीं को बोलते हैं the autotrophs or the self nourishing organisms. These producers are also being called as converters, because ये क्या करते हैं, लाइट एनर्जी को केमिकल एनर्जी में कन्वर्ट करते हैं. These are also called as transductors, because these are going to convert, as I told you, to form the bonds of chemicals, and that is going to be the producers, the first component of biotic. in the producers, you can have two variations, whether they are living in terrestrial ecosystem या in aquatic ecosystem. So जो producers terrestrial के होंगे, these are majorly the herbaceous and the woody plants, whereas in aquatic system these herbaceous or woody plants are not going to be the producers, but they will change into the aquatic producers. That includes phytoplanktons, algae, floating or submerged plants which are found at the margins of the water body. So this is going to be the two different producers that are found on the basis of different kind of ecosystem. So terrestrial के अलग होंगे, aquatic के अलग होंगे. The second we come, that is consumers. Now once the producers have converted the light energy into forms of sugar, now these consumers are going to eat directly or indirectly. So the consumers are the animals that are not capable of synthesizing. वो अपना खाना खुद नहीं बना सकते हैं. They have to depend, that can be either directly or indirectly. So directly अगर depend करना है, then that is the herbivorous animals which are directly going to eat the producers, whereas indirectly comes your carnivorous. So carnivorous जो होंगे वो herbivorous को खाएंगे, and because they are going to eat meat, that is going to be the indirect source that are going to depend onto the plant. So these consumers are also called as heterotrophs because these are having different kind of sources for the energy or the food materials. The next we see, that is the types of consumers. Consumers में there can be, as I told you, herbivorous or carnivorous. ये जो levels है ये अलग अलग होते हैं depending upon what kind of consumers they are. So first we see about the primary consumers, which are also called as first order consumers, herbivorous, or very important to remember, that is key industry animals, because these are going to be the consumers जो plant energy को इतने अच्छी तरीके से use करेंगे to convert into flesh and meat, that is going to be further provided to the second, third and fourth order consumers. So because of these, the industry like the meat industry is also going to work, or even the other ecosystem animals are going to be helped. These are called as key industry animals. So as you know very well, herbivorous animals कौन से होते हैं? There are going to be grasshopper, cow, deer, mollusk, tadpole, mosquito larva. All these are going to come under the primary consumers. The second we see is about the secondary consumers or the second order consumers. These are called as primary carnivores. Primary carnivores because these are directly going to feed onto the primary consumers. These include like toad, spider, lizards, centipedes, insectivorous, birds, hydra, even some fishes can come under the category of secondary consumers. The third is going to be the tertiary consumers or the third order consumers, also called as secondary carnivores, because secondary carnivores feed onto the primary ones. So these are going to include the large fishes and even the snake. So large fishes छोटे fishes को खाएंगे, छोटे fishes zooplanktons या planktons को खाएंगे in the aquatic ecosystem. So that way these are going to change onto their levels. And the fourth one, that is the top carnivores. These are called as top carnivores because these are not eaten by others. इनके ऊपर कोई नहीं होता है, इनको कोई नहीं खाएगा. These are directly once they die are going to go for decomposition. So that are the top carnivores, including the lion, panther, falcon, peacock, tiger. All these come under the top carnivore category. So the third we see is the decomposers, also called as saprotrophs. So these decomposers or saprotrophic organisms are going to derive their food material from the organic matter present in the dead remains of the plants and animals. अभी समझो हमारे जो plant material है, प्लांट मटेरियल जब उग रहा था, हो सकता है बारिश आ गई, तूफान आ गया, ये प्लांट मटेरियल की डेथ हो गई और ये पूरा का पूरा चला गया, सॉइल में बरी हो गया. सॉइल में जैसे ही बरी हो जाएगा, इसके ऊपर कौन एक्ट करेगा? इसके ऊपर डीकम्पोजर्स एक्ट करेंगे और डीकम्पोजर्स विल कन्वर्ट इट इनटू ऑर्गेनिक मैटर. and this organic matter that is converted from this particular plant leaf हो सकता है या पूरा का पूरा plant हो सकता है या कोई animal का decomposition हो रहा है, these are going to get converted into the simple inorganic elements. So these are going to the organisms, how they are going to derive this, वो digestive enzymes secrete करेंगे, and that is going to help them to convert the complex organic substances into the simpler ones, and then these are also going to help in bringing about the cyclic exchange of materials कि जो भी materials plants ने use किया था from the soil for their growth, once they die, that is going to be giving again going back into the soil. So that is the reason we call that हम जन्मे हैं मिट्टी से और मरेंगे भी मिट्टी में. So जहाँ से आए हैं वहीं पे जाएंगे. So that is nothing but the decomposers are going to do once the death of the organism occurs. These are going to get decomposed so that they can return all the materials to the soil again. So that is the cyclic exchange कि वो एक बार biotic component में जाएगा, that is they will be a part of animals or plants, and they will come back again to environment through the process of decomposition. So since these are reducing the bonds, वो bonds को तोड़ के simpler form में convert कर रहे हैं, these are called as reducers, and these are capable of degrading the dead organisms. So here are some examples of different kinds of decomposers which are going to help in the exchange of materials. So what are the functions of these decomposers? These are called as natural scavengers because these are going to reduce the organic materials जो किसी की डेथ हो रही है. समझो अगर डिकम्पोजिशन नहीं होता था तो डेड बॉडीज वैसे की वैसी पड़ी हुई रहती थी, एंड सिंस देयर इज नो न्यूट्रिएंट साइक्लिंग, द न्यू organisms would not have got the nutrients to grow, so eventually even they would have died. So that processing of minerals and other things to go on in a cycle, you need decomposers, you need these natural scavengers. These are also going to function to replenish the soil naturally. So जो भी minerals use हुए थे उनको वापस add up करना into the soil in a natural way so that they can maintain the ecosystem is done by these crucial decomposers. So the decomposers, by chance if they get extinct onto this earth, the whole ecosystem can drop off because there is no nutrient cycling. नए लोगों को chance नहीं मिलेगा, new plants will not have nutrients, and that is the reason even decomposers are going to be very important part of the food chain. The next we see that what sort of decomposers are present. So first is going to be the scavengers. So what are scavengers? These are the animals that feed on dead or injured animals, and these are going to be the animals which are going for cleaning of the earth. जो भी डेड बॉडीज है, जो भी कार्सेस है, समझो किसी लायन ने एक डियर को खा लिया और बचा हुआ जो डियर है वो वैसे का वैसा पड़ा हुआ है. So what will happen? It is going undergoing scavenging. These scavengers like the crows, vultures, or the Caribbean beetles, or these skunks, all these are going to come and eat onto that dead body. जो जो भी मीट हो, फ्लैश हो बचा हुआ है, जो बाकी किसी टॉप कार्निवोर ने खा के छोड़ दिया है, that is going to be consumed, and because of that this is also cleaning the organic garbage onto the earth. Then the second type is going to be the detrivores. These detrivores are going to be the animals that feed on the detritus. Detritus क्या होता है? जो भी organic material है, for example soil में जो बरी हो चुका है, जो dead leaves है जो गिर चुके हैं, all these are going to be consumed by these detrivores, and these are going to help in quick disposal of the dead bodies. So जैसे बोलते हैं ना dead body के ऊपर कीड़े लग गए. So these कीड़े are nothing but the detrivores that include termites and earthworms, which are going to be helping for the quick disposal of these dead bodies. The third one are the parasites, which are going to be the organisms living in or on the host organism. तो ये जो होस्ट होता है वो ये पैरासाइट्स को न्यूट्रिशन सप्लाई करेगा और घर देगा रहने के लिए, बट दैट इज नॉट कंट्रोल्ड बाय होस्ट. होस्ट नहीं चाहता है इन्हें, but still they are going to be on or in the organism. So these are going to belong from various diverse groups. They can be coming from bacteria, fungi, protozoans, or they can be worms. All these come under the category of parasites. The next we see is the structure of ecosystem. Structure of ecosystem में you have the species composition. The first one you need to understand. So जो ecosystem है उसका structure किसके ऊपर है, उनमें कौन कौन उपस्थित है. So जो species है, जो composition है उसका, वो उसमें कौन कौन biotic factors में कौन species है, based on that it is going to be the type of ecosystem. So for example, if you have identified numerous kinds of different kinds of plant and animal species, that is going to comprise the species composition. So for example, if you have the tropical rainforest, since it is a very dense forest, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा resources है, these dense forests are going to have amazing amount of biological species. उनका जो species composition होगा वो बहुत ज़्यादा rich होगा. This is going to have many different kinds of animals, many different kinds of insects, birds, or even the flora of that area is going to be very beautiful. Why? Because यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा रिचनेस है, वहाँ पे वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी है, रेनफॉल है, वहाँ पे सनलाइट अच्छी है, वहाँ पे इतने सारे स्पीशीज़ है कि डिकम्पोजिशन होकर न्यूट्रिएंट सप्लाई भी बहुत अच्छा है. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द स्पीशीज कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ सच एरिया इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी डेंस, वेरी रिच. वेराज ऑन द अदर हैंड द डेजर्ट इकोसिस्टम जो होता है वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा स्केर्स है, वहाँ पे एनिमल लाइफ भी कम होगा, वहाँ पे वेजिटेशन भी कम होगा. So based on you can understand that how is the structure of the ecosystem. Structure depend करता है on its species, वहाँ पे कौन से animal life है, वहाँ पे कौन सी plant life है. Based on that also the ecosystem flourishness is going to depend upon. The second pillar of the structure of ecosystem is going to be stratification. So stratification may you can see a very beautiful example of vertical stratification that is seen in the you know uh, the big forests of tropical rainforest. तो ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट में वहाँ पे इतना ज़्यादा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन है दैट यू कैन हैव डिफरेंट लेयर्स. सो रेन फॉरेस्ट लेवल फ्लोर लेवल हो सकता है जहाँ पे फॉलिंग लीव्स होंगे या ट्विग्स होंगे या डिकम्पोजिशन हो रहा है या छोटे छोटे ग्रासेस वगैरह उग रहे हैं. You can have understory layer wherein the branches of big trees or even small trees, shrubs and herbs can be growing around. Canopy layer wherein the normal sized trees का leaves area होगा, canopy होगी. And the very different kind of forest layer can be seen, that is emergent layers. So big tall trees can also be coming out of this stratification and forming the emergent layers. So ये जो richness है, that is stratification. These are using the vertical space as well to have different kinds of members and different kinds of communities. So this is going to be recognized as a pattern and this is going to comprise the stratification. So ये जैसे different kinds of subdivisions होते हैं onto the vertical forests. You can have top layer जहाँ पे trees हो, you can have the second layer of shrubs which are smaller than the trees, and at the bottom layer you can have grasses and herbs. So this is stratification. And the other one component, that is structural component, that is species composition. So these two are the components that are going to make up the structure of the ecosystem. So all this is going to be the interaction of biotic and abiotic components resulting in a physical structure that is characteristic for each kind of ecosystem. Rainforest ecosystem और desert ecosystem का species composition stratification सब अलग होगा, and that is going to be its own unique type that depends on the each type of ecosystem. So that makes as nature is unique in itself, that as you are. So as we saw, because of the interactions of biotic and abiotic, every ecosystem is going to be unique in itself. It has its own characteristic. वैसे ही जैसे आप अपने आप में अलग हो, आप अपने आप में unique हो. With that note, I would like to end this particular part of the chapter, saying that if you like this video, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till the next time we meet all these unique people back again on our channel. Till then, bye bye everyone. Thank you.